Taking a live look from North Baltimore, where police are investigating a shooting. The new details just into our newsroom. Day 6 of testimony in the federal trial against Marilyn Mosby. The questions still surrounding her ex-husband's testimony and his financial situation. 3 months after an assault by juveniles in Butchers Hill, the victim is speaking out.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
We are following breaking news out of North Baltimore at this hour. This is a live look at Wilsby Avenue, where police are investigating a shooting. Police say a 25-year-old man was shot multiple times. He was taken to the hospital, where they say he is in stable condition. No word yet on any suspects. Anybody with information is asked to call police. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Mary Bubala. Day 6 of testimony in the federal mortgage fraud trial against former City State's attorney Marilyn Mosby has come to an end. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost was in Greenbelt today for the proceedings.
The jury heard some brief testimony today, but really what came out in court surrounding Nick Mosby's testimony and his previous financial problems remains one of the biggest headlines. And now the spotlight is turning to the city council president's future. Marilyn Mosby walking side by side into court with her defense attorney.
Good morning, Ms. Mosby.
Good morning.
You ready for this to be over?
As day 6 of testimony in her mortgage fraud trial gets underway. Lingering questions about her ex-husband Nick Mosby's testimony, however, stalled most of the morning's movement. Prosecutors seeking to subpoena Marilyn Mosby's previous defense team, telling the judge FBI agents were sent to Los Angeles and Chicago Monday to try and bring them to Maryland, forcing them to testify about a meeting they had with Nick Mosby in March of 2022. Ultimately, Judge Grigsby not allowing that to happen. But questions surrounding Nick Mosby and his financial past remain. Prosecutors claim Baltimore City Council President Nick Mosby, who also chairs the city spending board, repeatedly committed perjury on tax forms dating back nearly a decade, alleging in 2014 Nick claimed $21,000 in charitable donations, the same year when he was more than $18,000 behind in mortgage payments, had his car repossessed. In 2015, prosecutors also claim Nick donated $15,000 to charity while he was $9,600 behind on mortgage payments, racking up tens of thousands of dollars in debt on back taxes. Nick's alleged fraudulent tax issues not allowed to be discussed in front of the jury, but the jury did hear Nick Mosby admit to funneling over $1,000 worth of clothing expenses through his business. These financial problems come on the heels of Nick Mosby telling the jury he kept his ballooning tax debt a secret from his wife, often stashing mail in garbage bags, keeping piles on the ground and in canvas bags. Nick also under oath admitting to lying to the public about taking care of that $45,000 tax lien simply because he did not want Marilyn to find out.
Makes his credibility even worse if it's possible to think it was good in the first place.
Political analyst John Dede argues Nick's financial mismanagement raises serious questions about his ability to lead moving forward.
And I think he's got to do a lot of thinking about running and leaving in a situation where he ends up looking worse.
While the city council president claims he's running for re-election, online records show he is yet to officially file. And the latest campaign finance records show Mosby has $183,000 in his campaign coffers, while his biggest challenger, City Councilman Zeke Cohen, has more than $530,000 in the bank. Shannon Sneed, another candidate seeking to unseat Nick, has just under $170,000.
You need $200 million to erase stuff like that. And I think that voters will look at it and say, we want to continue the Mosby drama. All these things coming out create an extreme increase of a lack of trust.
The candidate filing deadline, February 9th. The city council president's office tells Fox 45 News he intends to file in the coming days. If that happens, Dede argues, the information about Nick Mosby's financial fumbles in the past could pose serious hurdles for him to overcome with voters. The defense says between now and Wednesday morning, they will decide whether Marilyn Mosby will testify. Leaving court Tuesday.
Will you testify tomorrow?
Silence from the defense as testimony in Marilyn Mosby's mortgage fraud trial continues to drag on. At this point, Marilyn Mosby and her defense team have just a few hours left to make that decision about whether she will take the stand. But remember, she did not testify in her previous perjury trial in November. In Greenbelt, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
3 months after a brazen attack in Butchers Hill was caught on camera, the victim in that assault is speaking out. Julie, who asked we protect her identity by only using her first name and not showing her face, says she was initially told neither of the 2 juveniles arrested for the attack would face consequences. Then a few weeks later, she says the state's attorney's office sent her a letter claiming the 14-year-old would be charged with 1 count of robbery. And now, just this week, Julie says she received another letter from the state's attorney's office listing 11 additional charges, including multiple counts of assault and theft. Julie has yet to hear any update on the 12-year-old suspect.
That was hard, too, for me, because I felt like if there had been interventions or something put in place earlier, maybe this wouldn't have happened to me, and maybe, you know, these juveniles would be in a better place.
Fox 45 reached out to the state's attorney's office and DJS asking why these charges were suddenly changed and for a status update on the 12-year-old's case. They say they are unable to comment because the suspects are minors. The search for answers continues in the death of 20-year-old Kayla Hamilton, who was killed in Aberdeen back in 2022. And now a new development on the suspect, an MS-13 gang member. Fox 45's Jessica Babb reports.
Date after date. In this letter from Representative Jim Jordan, there's a timeline of requests. Now, months later, with unanswered questions, he's issuing a subpoena to the Department of Health and Human Services.
We know that Border Patrol does not specifically check the home country criminal history of aliens it encounters at the border. We know that the Biden administration's open border policies have led directly to the deaths of Noah Rodriguez and Kayla Hamilton.
Outspoken about border policies, for more than 6 months, Representative Jordan says the U.S. House Judiciary Committee has been asking HHS about data and policies related to the placement of unaccompanied alien children, sponsor vetting, and UACs that have criminal and gang affiliations.
We want answers, and they need to provide them.
This after 20-year-old Kayla Hamilton was raped and killed in her home in Aberdeen in 2022.
I want her to be remembered as the happy and loving child.
The suspect accused was an unaccompanied alien child with ties to the MS-13 gang in El Salvador. Kayla's mother is now suing the Department of Homeland Security and HHS, saying they failed her daughter.
They should not have allowed this young man to matriculate in the United States.
As lawmakers have been investigating, in a letter sent this month, Representative Jordan says after HHS officials were unable to answer their questions last June, the Judiciary Committee was told the information would be provided. But Jordan says the only information they received was, quote, a series of generalized statements that partially touched on the committee's requests. After additional requests last November, Jordan says HHS produced, quote, nothing of substance. Now he's hoping he can get those answers with the subpoena.
I hope something does come out of it.
But HHS disagrees. In a statement, a spokesperson says they've previously responded to the committee and continue to engage with them. To suggest the department hasn't been responsive is a mischaracterization and another example of the committee issuing a subpoena without basis. They say these actions fail to solve the important and urgent issue of ensuring a safe and humane immigration system.
So that in honor of Kayla Hamilton, we can take this information, improve our vetting at the border, and make sure this never happens to another young woman or man.
Tonight, state leaders are taking a closer look at the laws that allowed a 15-year-old rapist to attend a Baltimore City public high school. Last week, Project Baltimore broke the story of a teenager who already admitted to one rape and is facing similar charges in a second case. The 15-year-old was allowed to attend Patterson High School because under current state law, a juvenile sex offender who is not on the registry cannot be barred from attending school in person, except in certain cases. We asked Governor West Moore about the situation, and he says he is looking into these laws.
As we're finding out more information about this specific situation, we want to make sure that the policies and the laws are laws that are in place that are making sure that people are safe in their communities and that kids are safe in their schools.
Tonight on Fox 45 News at 10, hear more from Governor Moore and the actions members of the General Assembly are already taking.
Fox 45 is following some breaking news tonight. President Biden says he has made a decision on how the United States will respond to the deadly drone strike in Jordan. 3 U.S. service members were killed in that strike over the weekend. Dozens of others were hurt. Biden did not elaborate on his decision, but did say he holds Iran responsible.
Yes. Mr. President, Iran responsible for the death of those 3 Americans? I do hold them responsible in the sense that they're supplying the weapons to the people who did it. We'll have that discussion.
3 Army reservists identified as 46-year-old Sergeant William Rivers, 24-year-old Specialist Kennedy Sanders, and 23-year-old Specialist Breonna Moffett were killed when their housing unit was hit by a drone strike on Sunday. The Department of Defense says at least 40 others were hurt. The president says he hopes to deter a broader conflict in the Middle East.
The most powerful names in tech are about to answer to Congress for child exploitation online. I'm Atra El-Nashar with a look at the changes to social media that parents are demanding.
And as we wrap up the month of January, we're actually ending with above average snowfall for the month. That after that incredible snow drought leading up to it. 9.1 inches is what we're ending with. Doesn't look like we're tracking much snow in the week ahead, but we've got a couple of weak weather makers. I'll explain what they mean for our area in just a couple of minutes on Fox 45 News at 6.
On Capitol Hill Wednesday, a highly anticipated appearance by the CEOs of some of the biggest social media companies, including TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. They're expected to be grilled by lawmakers. Sinclair national correspondent Atra El-Nashar joins us live with a preview of this big meeting. Atra, good evening.
Hey, good evening, Mary. You know, this hearing has been months in the making, even requiring a few subpoenas to compel some of these social media CEOs to testify. They're going to face lawmakers, but also a coalition of concerned parents demanding changes to how these companies operate. Todd Miner Sr. describes his 12-year-old son Matthew as adventurous, fun-loving, stood up for other kids at school.
He lit up a room when he came in.
One night at home in March 2019, Miner's older son shouted from upstairs. Something was wrong with Matthew.
When I got up there, he had something wrapped around his neck.
A military vet, Miner performed CPR. He was hopeful when he heard a pulse. But at 2 a.m. at the hospital,
that's when they told us Matthew had unfortunately passed.
A detective came to speak with Miner and his wife.
That's when he started talking about the social media challenges. And he said he was seeing a lot of this.
What they pieced together haunts them to this day. Matthew saw a blackout challenge on social media, kids asphyxiating themselves for fun.
I don't know how to get it across that I don't want other families to go through what we went through.
The Miners will be among dozens of parents and advocates in the room when CEOs of X, TikTok, Snap, Meta, and Discord testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee Wednesday, calling for the passage of the Kids Online Safety Act, legislation that would require platforms to give parents more controls to protect their kids and place more accountability on platforms for dangers posed to underage users.
They have promised for years that things would change, and they just haven't.
Many of the platforms push back on that accusation. Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, has rolled out more than a dozen child safety features in the past year aimed at mental health and privacy. Snapchat also adding protections for teens like warnings for suspicious content. Advocates say lawmakers share the blame, holding more than 40 hearings since 2017 with little to show for it.
Our message is really simple. We want the vote, and we want it now.
Now, I'm told parents from across the country are flying here to Capitol Hill to come face-to-face with these tech CEOs. Among them are parents who've also lost kids to suicide, eating disorders, or overdoses from drugs purchased through social media.
And Audra, we know some advocates are voicing frustration that the hearing will not have an executive from YouTube, which according to Pew Research is really the most used social media platform, really among young people, really young ones. Do we know why?
Yeah, it's by far the most used. About 95% of teens report using it, according to Pew Research. So about an hour ago, I was just talking to the two senators leading the charge on the Kids Online Safety Act, Senator Marsha Blackburn, a Republican of Tennessee, and Senator Richard Blumenthal, a Democrat of Connecticut. And I said, why isn't YouTube going to be there? And to be honest with you, Mary, they didn't have a real answer. They weren't entirely sure why the Judiciary Committee, which they don't chair, but they're members of, didn't prioritize YouTube. Though I should note, in my coverage of this issue over the years, even though YouTube is very much a social media platform and where a lot of harms and exploitation, et cetera, occur, it rarely comes up in these conversations. But the senators told me that tomorrow's hearing is by no means going to be their last and that they are open to hearing from YouTube in the future.
All right, Audra El-Nashar live for us in D.C. tonight. Thank you.
And now it's time for your Fox 45 News Triple Cast. Let's start off by taking a look at what's happening. You can see on FutureScan, actually, our new chief meteorologist is working on something fun for tomorrow night that involves Groundhog Day. So we'll talk more about that come tomorrow. But they could have an impact from our next weather maker there. Looking down at the Inner Harbor in Towson, you can see it is cloudy here. And we are looking ahead to our next weather maker. That's bringing in the clouds tonight. That's this weak system off to our west here. You can see a little stream of snow showers dipping through the Midwest into the Ohio Valley with that. That's what's trying to push our direction, but not really succeeding. So not a lot of moisture from that going to reach us. A brief sprinkle or two, and that's really it. Otherwise, clouds are streaming in courtesy of that system. And that's going to be the main impact for us as we head over the next 24 hours. Right now, darkness has settled in over the Inner Harbor. It's cloudy out there. Temperatures holding at 40 degrees. We make a run for the mid-40s tomorrow. We could see a couple of sprinkles, but I think most of us will stay dry. After that, a mild end to the work week will follow, and then the weekend is full of sunshine. Sunshine and some cooler temperatures too. So let's take a look at the future scan. It shows a brief sprinkle possible here early tomorrow morning. Not much in terms of rain or snow for us. Instead, we'll stay mostly cloudy throughout the day tomorrow. As we get into your Thursday, I think we briefly welcome back some sunshine, but then this little cold front's going to dip in from the north. Not a lot of moisture with this either. I think a brief shower overnight Thursday into the wee hours of Friday morning. That comes through. That's going to knock our temperatures down for the weekend. Otherwise, we're going to stay dry Friday heading into the weekend. So temperatures are improving with each passing day. Mid-40s ahead of us tomorrow. And then the 50s make a brief appearance both Thursday and Friday to wrap up the week and actually kick off the month of February. For the first weekend of February, here's what we're looking ahead to. Tons of sunshine both days. It will be chilly on Saturday with temperatures in the upper 40s, but we are nearing 50 degrees again by the end of it on Sunday. And if you take a look at our temperature trend leading up to the weekend, we do get a couple days in the 50s this week. That's going to be the case both Thursday and Friday. Over the weekend, temperatures closer to where they should be for this time of year and in the upper 40s on Saturday and near 50 by Sunday. Now, coming up in just a couple of minutes, we'll take a look ahead at our full 10-day forecast, and I'll show you where our temperatures are trending and what our rain and snow chances look like over the next 10 days.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
An atmospheric river sending a storm to California this week could dump much more snow in the Sierra Nevada mountains, seen here near Reno. A perfect fog bow was spotted in Montana. It's similar to a rainbow, but with water droplets much smaller than raindrops, it doesn't split the light into the spectrum. And the Northern Lights put on a show last night near Fairbanks, Alaska.
Listen to Off the Radar, new episodes every Tuesday. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
A man in California gets his hands on one of the first Tesla trucks. Our sister station takes it out for a spin. Find out why it is turning heads. It is a truck straight out of the future on the road today. One California man is among the first to get his hands on a Tesla Cybertruck. As John DeWheel from our Sinclair sister station in Fresno shows us, the truck is a head turner with quite a few tricks up its sleeve.
No, that's not music we added to this clip. It's coming from the ride of tomorrow.
The light show. That was the first time we tried it out.
On the streets of the valley today.
Guy never had anything like this.
Jack Vartanian has been the proud owner of this Tesla Cybertruck for just days, one of the first in the San Joaquin Valley, after waiting for years.
So we ordered this thing in 2019.
The look, just one aspect.
I really liked the whole idea, you know, the all-wheel drive, the power, all electric, just something different to try out.
Technology that turns heads, or in some cases makes complete strangers turn around in their tracks, whether it's outside Vartanian's business off Highway 41 or outside his home, where he was happy to let others enjoy it too.
We saw it over here. It's like, oh, there's a Cybertruck. We gotta come stop by and see if, we can take a look. It looked like something hand-drawn by my little brother, but seeing it up close in real life now, it's really striking. Yeah. It's really cool.
And forget a simple camera. This one comes with the 360 look, a hydraulic system to ride low and slow, video games to play while you're waiting, and forget tailgating. This one gives you a front row seat to the action instead.
Well, there's a lot of neat stuff. I'm still learning some of this stuff. So there's a lot of technology in this car. So it's going to take a little time for me to get used to it. It's exciting, so I'll probably keep it for a while until the next one come out.
And now let's take a look at that full 10-day forecast. Couple of brief chances for some showers. One coming up tomorrow morning. I think just a brief sprinkle possible. Then temperatures warming Thursday and Friday for Groundhog Day. Looks like it's going to be overcast on Friday with another brief shower chance. After that, the sunshine is back in full force this weekend. Going to be pretty nice for the first full weekend of February. Upper 40s on Saturday, near 50 by Sunday. If I step out of the way here, you can see not too many changes. Next week, temperatures will be back in the 50s by the end of it. Mary?
Amy, thank you. Finally tonight, a marketing group has estimated the brand value of Taylor Swift's relationship with Travis Kelce for the NFL, and it is a pretty penny. Apex Marketing Group estimates that the relationship is worth more than $331 million to the team and the league. They tracked radio, TV, and social media exposure from the first time Swift was seen cheering Kelce on back in September. That media exposure has led to increased viewership for certain NFL games, and many Swifties are buying jerseys for the first time. Many Swifties convinced their dads to take them to the Ravens game against the Chiefs on Sunday, and I'm sure they're doing the same for the Super Bowl. Well, that's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud's next. We'll see you back here for the news at 10 tonight. Have a good night.